to the Pretend Podcast. I'm Gavin, and I'm joined by...
Craig.
Captain Craig, actually.
Captain Craig.
And we are glad to have you here for another riveting episode of the Pretend Podcast. And we love to do the flip side of things around here. Welcome back if you've been listening, or welcome for the first time.
Absolutely.
What we do around these parts is we introduce each other to wonderful things, back and forth, maybe not so wonderful things.
Sometimes bad things.
Yeah, so we just like to throw some some topics back and forth, whether it be media, music seems to be a common one, movies, books, literature, beverages, all kinds of sorts of stuff. And this is a follow-up episode already. This might be our first sequel, right?
I think it is, yeah.
All right, so yeah, we did the worst things ever episode.
Yes, the most horrible things since the crucifixion episode.
And
which was a hit.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
The Easter episode.
Oh, yeah.
But that's when we figured, let's lighten the mood, right? Mm-hmm. So let's, show these nice listeners out there that we're not just two old guys like on the Muppet Show that just hate everything.
That's right. We're two old guys who like things.
We like some shit too.
Yes.
There's a lot of love in this heart still. Mm-hmm. And we figured we'd make this a favorites episode. Not necessarily our number one favorites maybe, but
just things we love.
Favorites in certain categories.
Are near and dear.
Yeah, and wow, if there's one thing I've learned by doing a Comparison Cure podcast, is that it's a lot harder to talk about things that you like, surprisingly.
Oh, really?
Than it is things
easy
that you
to commiserate over hate.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's weird.
It's like the light and the dark side.
I guess so. Right, maybe that's the temptation of the dark side. It's like the Emperor and Darth Vader, let's just sit around and talk shit, Doc.
Come on.
He's like, it is much.
What about those bitches in the steno pool?
I hate wearing brown. I know, right? It's a terrible color, and so it's easier to bash shit or at least just poke fun at it.
Yeah.
I think, because a lot of times you're like, that fucking song is beautiful, but you can't really articulate why.
Yeah.
A lot of times
and you certainly if you're in a position where you need to sort of explain it or defend it, even. It's difficult to do. Sometimes it's just a gut reaction.
Which might happen in this episode.
In fact, could.
It probably will.
Yes.
That is so beautiful. Why can't you understand? You're like, you are fucked up. Why do you think this is great?
It is the worst thing ever.
So we're going to lean towards things that we favor. And, let's, as we like to do, since the clock is probably going to tick on a lot of these, we might have to have a stopwatch. If your selections are much like mine, where I'm like, fuck, I could probably ramble about these for like an hour in itself.
Absolutely.
So,
we do love them, so it's easy to talk.
Or maybe not. So who knows? We'll see what happens. But thanks so much for joining us. And what's on the table of contents for this evening, Craig?
Well, you assigned me Rebel Without a Cause.
What? Never heard of it.
Yes. Yeah, it's 1955, I think. And Morrissey, Your Arsenal, a solo album in 92.
Yep.
Both of which we'll have a lot to say about.
Pompadours.
Yes, I was about to say tall hair. Yes, there is a lot of pomp and circumstance.
Morrissey's a big James Dean fan. I really had no direct intention of having the crossover, but when I just grabbed, I was like, oh yeah, that'd be a good one. And I was thinking, because movies, it's tough to pick your favorite movie.
It is.
I was like, my all-time one's probably some Star Wars one. I'm sure we're going to do some Star Wars episodes, so I don't want to be like,
easy.
Hey, I'll be like, have you ever heard of Empire Strikes Back?
A little film called Star Wars.
Yeah.
Perhaps you don't know about the Force.
Indiana Jones ring a bell?
Let me elucidate.
Yeah. And then even further into the fire of movies that we've probably just seen the most times, like probably Before Sunrise, starring Ethan Hawke. And I can't keep track because that's such a love and hate movie.
Really?
Yeah, Richard Linklater movie, and I couldn't remember for the life of me which of our friends in our circle of friends, like so many of them, I think like literally 98% of them have like a deep hatred for Ethan Hawke and that movie in particular. And I couldn't quite remember if you had been like...
I do not dislike Ethan Hawke, but okay. my largest frame of reference for Ethan Hawke is the movie Explorers.
There you go.
So
some people would say it was all downhill from there.
Yeah, it just went to hell from there.
But I love the guy. I think he does great movies, and we'll save that for another time maybe. But so I didn't choose that, and I didn't choose Star Wars or Indiana Jones, but Rebel Without a Cause. I'm a huge James Dean fan and huge Morrissey fan, so I didn't want to go with The Cure. That would be the obvious choice too. So.
And I chose for you...
You chose the movie Goonies, which has come up quite a bit in our friendship. It's one of the first things from meeting you, like where that was something that just came up, your love of the movie Goonies.
Yeah.
And it is a classic from 1985. Everyone knows it. It's
fantastic.
A fantastical film for children and adults and other people.
If you don't know it, you damn well should.
Well, we'll fill you in.
Go out and buy it for $5 at Walmart.
Totally, it's out there. And we got some music from you as well. We got album from Fugazi, Steady Diet of Nothing, which also came, what was it, 91, I think that was?
I think so.
Year before
91.
Your Arsenal. So another 90s rock album by Fugazi, which is a great choice because being a Northern Virginia resident, almost DC area, qualify. I strangely, shamefully, know some Fugazi. Never had any reason not to listen to him, but never really listened to him much.
You should be ashamed.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's just like, I don't know. I think the punkiness always kind of steered me off. Waiting Room, of course, I always knew that.
Yeah.
Love that song. It's cool. But for some reason, I'd always hear it, and through other friends, I always loved it. But just even in the past week or so, I've been pondering why did I never latch on, or why? What was the reasoning? And we'll dive into all that.
We will.
Maybe. Also paired with a quick little, I don't even know if you'd call it an EP. I guess it'd be more of a single.
Yeah.
But a one-off that would also go with the Fugazi. Another Ian MacKaye. It is MacKaye, right?
MacKaye, yeah.
Right, okay. Ian MacKaye single of Egg Hunt. I guess it was under the name Egg Hunt. And it was 2 songs, Me and You and We All Fall Down. Also with another dude from Minor Threat?
Yeah, Jeff Nelson, the drummer from Minor Threat.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. So kind of an in-between
it's like a weird little moment in time.
Yeah, awesome. So cool little pairing there of a full-on Fugazi and a little bit of a throwback single that led into Fugazi, I reckon. So lots of cool stuff, and it wouldn't be two old alcoholics sitting around talking podcasts if we didn't cap it off with our favorite adult beverages in the beer category. And we got. Maybe we should not disclose
say
it.
That
we've been drinking them.
They both have alcohol in them.
Yeah, and they're delicious.
Yes, and we can reveal them and why we chose them.
Yes.
Maybe a little bit later. I think we both unintentionally chose beers that are sort of nostalgic favorites. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and everything, I wonder how much nostalgia and sentimental value holds true with our selections.
That is, I mean...
Shall we dive in? Maybe everything is based on that. Maybe your whole life is based on it.
It could be.
Are we all just living in the past a little bit?
Except for the newborns.
Ooh.
What?
Oh,
yeah.
They don't even know what happened a week ago.
You did not expect that sort of perspective.
Children have no concept of time.
When you're like, I'll download these 2 doofuses, you didn't think.
You would have your mind blown all over the...
Yeah.
Well, where should we begin? I think the cinemas are a great place to start.
Shall we start with Rebel Without a Cause?
Sure, if you're willing.
I am.
It takes me back.
Yeah,
to 1955 when I was a wee lad.
When I was negative 27 years old.
Totally.
I am sort of embarrassed to say, if you had asked me before, have you seen Rebel Without a Cause? I'd be like, yeah. But as I started watching it with Gainita, it became really clear, my wife, I had not ever seen it. Like, it's just like you see this image of the red jacketed,
everywhere.
jeans bedecked.
It is the
James
iconic
Dean, Jimmy Dean, and
James Dean film. Yeah,
and you're just like, man, of course I've seen that. And I think I had seen enough about it. I kind of understood what the plot was, but I had never seen it. So
it's kind of how I am about Fugazi.
Yeah, there you go.
I had to recognize one of these. So I was like,
it says, let's see, the star sensation of East of Eden, James Dean in Rebel Without a Cause, also starring Natalie Wood. And then there's an ellipses, and it says, and they both came from good families.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, but there's like a weird dynamic with her dad. There's some sort of pedophile horror or something. I don't think that's intentional.
In both our movie selections, I want to get into the weird sides of both of them.
I think one of my first biggest takeaways is that Thurston Howell III is in it.
Yeah,
from Gilligan's Island, and
Mr. Magoo too.
Yes, I did not know that he had ever been in anything that wasn't Gilligan's Island.
Now the Jimbo, let's make a list.
Yeah, Sal Mineo, Natalie Wood, and James Dean, all dead, but by the time they were in their 40s, if not sooner. Yeah. And I don't know why, but I was under the impression Sal Mineo was still alive, which is clearly not the case, because he's been dead a real long time.
Bad, horrible death, too.
Yeah, he got stabbed in the freaking heart by a pizza delivery guy.
Yeah, weird kind of hate crime or some shit. I never really fully investigated him. And Natalie Wood, it was like her first like kind of adult, her teen adult role. Like, cause she was
like 16.
She was a kid actress, Miracle on 31st Street and stuff. But this was like her branching out into her first like adult role.
So she's like 16, he's in his 20s in this.
Yeah, I think 20. It must have been 24 still. His second movie, just did East of Eden. Basically plowed all three of them. He's only been in 3 official movies, some TV movies and stuff, but
some weird porn stuff.
Yeah, only 3 real movies, and this was the second.
Yeah,
and even weird favorites wise, like East of Eden's technically a better movie. Like I would say that's more of my favorite James Dean movie, but this is the most like kind of hip. Disposable, where I could just throw it on.
I really
kind of enjoy it in a campy and cool way.
I enjoy it like it's a very simple is not quite the right word, but it's like very sort of straightforward. After school special setup, and late in it's just amazing. Like they made it in the 50s, and it's about kids in the 50s, so it's contemporary. And it's like they're going to high school, and some of them have ties on, but the bad kids have jeans and no ties.
Yeah, their concept of like what's like the rebel. I mean, the fact that he's even the rebel, and all he's trying to do is like stay away from people and drink milk after the big.
Like a ton of like he is like sort of complicit in a dude's death, and he's like, oh my god, I need some milk.
It's like that's what a rebel does, but it's like, it's weird because it is very 50s, but they were definitely trying to tackle like a juvenile, because everything wasn't that weird like 50s going into the 60s haze. Even like we touched on with the Patty Duke thing in the episode, was like everyone was finally starting to just acknowledge that like bad shit happens, It's such a weird time frame in like the 50s, and like everything had been like so like, hi dad, like very Patty Duke show, even though that was even 60s in the sense, but like TV had a bigger delay on it, I guess. But and it was weird because they had like researched juveniles and stuff, and like tried to really hone in on that and try to make it an accurate movie, which just seems kind of ridiculous now when you watch it. But at the same time, at the time in the 50s, it was like a really well researched, like, oh my god, how could children act like this?
They're wearing t-shirts with no overshirts.
Like, oh my god. But it's strange, and I don't know. What'd you think of old Jimmy Dean? I guess is my main love of the movie.
I feel like he was really good in it. And, I mean, like I understand why And then not just like the clips you always see, like, you're tearing me apart.
Right.
But just like all the stuff. Yeah. I mean, like when his dad's in the apron and he's trying to talk to his dad and his dad can't do it. Yeah.
It's like, you don't see like any 50s movies where basically the kid's calling his dad out for being a pussy. And like, it's like, come on, man. Fucking, why don't you?
It's
it's
just
okay.
Leave it on the floor. Yeah.
He's like, I can't, Jimbo. And let's make a list. And
it's like a completely limp noodle dad who is ineffectual. And
what do you think of like starting out at the police station? That's pretty cool, right? Like him drunk in the street with the monkey. And
then later he goes on to just crushing milk like a fiend. That's probably what's messed up on in the beginning.
Totally. And like I loved how it's kind of almost in the vein of like a Before Sunrise or Dazed and Confused, where it like is the night before and then it goes into the day, and it's really only like a 24-hour day movie. It's almost shot in like, very lenient real time, where it's not like because like by the end of his first night at the new school, like he ends up at the planetarium and everything. It's like death. Everything just like falls apart. But it's
Jesus, that was quick.
Super over dramatic, but I think that's
I think and
to be taken into consideration. It's a 1955 movie, right?
Yeah,
you didn't hold that against it.
It's like a truncated sort of a timeline. Like today, they would feel the need to kind of like change some clothes and some scenes so it looked like it was spread out.
But lots of sentimental attachment. I guess I just love James Dean. I don't really know how that came to be.
Where does that come from?
Was like guess around middle school age, somewhere in there. Like I knew my mom, like jokingly after we came in from playing, and I was just all sweaty and I like stuck my hair all straight up thinking I was funny or whatever, and she was like, "You look like James Dean." And then like Giant was on TV, his third movie, and we watched part of it, and I was like, this dude's fucking cool, man. He's like falling over tables and punching Rock Hudson and like causing shit, and like, and then it just kind of snowballed into it. But a lot of it was just like the images, like we found like those books and stuff, and dude like never looked weird in any picture. He just always looked cool,
like super squinty and awesome.
But it wasn't even so much like he just was like a good looking cool dude. It was just something like awkward about him too still, or he did kind of somehow capture.
Well, this picture on this, I mean, like his jacket's kind of too high, and he looks like he has like a 40-year-old gut. That's still cool.
There's something about it where it was just like, I don't know. And I love that he just mumbled so much. I think that was like a huge, like, where he's just like, he'd just be like, and that's just how I felt all through high school. And I was like, man, this dude speaks to me. And then, like, I guess Sealing the Cake, which does tie in, was that I was already a huge Smiths and Morrissey fan, but Morrissey put out a single Suede Head where he went to James Dean's hometown and like was just basically hanging out in the video on his grave and stuff, and there was like an overlap of like, well, Morrissey says he's cool, and so like, that reeled me in, I think that was like kind of the thing where I was like, okay, because I always felt like Smiths and Morrissey were already kind of like this little secret society as a middle schooler. I'm like, nobody knows who these fucking dudes are. They're like so good, and then like the fact that he was cool with James Dean like just kind of knocked it out of the park for me. But I don't know. So I mean, I would probably put like East of Eden as my number one favorite just because it's a better movie, But like his performance in Rebel Without a Cause is pretty.
He's good.
Pretty class.
There's some nice shots in it. Like, there's the scene where I think he's arguing with his parents after the other kid dies, and the camera is on the stairwell. And so he just kind of like lifts to one side, and they do that a couple
throws him over the chair. They started to get a little artsy on some stuff.
There's a few. Like
and the observatory is big sentimental value. Actually, out in L.A., go to it. That's still there. And
have you been there?
Yeah, a bunch of times. We just went recently. They got like a James Dean bust there.
Man.
And the whole part where they had the knife fight is like actual part there and stuff. And you go out and we got pictures of Henson out by the little observation corner there.
Wow.
And I guess they filmed like tons of movies there, like Rocketeer and La La Land, I guess the new one. But
well, people love it.
People love it. Not quite good enough to win the Academy Award.
No, that Ryan Gosling really did deserve it.
But yeah, that was when we went out the last time. It was actually kind of surprising because usually there's a big crowd around the James Dean corner there, and nobody was really there. And I was like, maybe it's because of La La Land. They're like all gravitated to a different spot. Like,
I don't care about that.
I don't know, but I was like, part of me was, it's like when your favorite band, nobody shows up at the show, you're like, what the fuck? But like, it's like, oh, cool. We can take as many pictures as we want.
We can move all the way up to the front.
But yeah, it was cool that so much was shot in that specific spot, out in, spoiler, Sal Menu gets gunned down right on the steps there.
It does, yes.
Tragic.
So much happens.
And they came from good families.
They did. Like Natalie Wood. I mean,
she
was, I don't know what her deal was.
Dude, yeah, she's a cool character. Weird, but there's and then the first scene, they're kind of like hinting that it's like, as far as weird scenes, he's like, what were you doing out there, Judy? Were you looking for company? Like he's like hitting that she was all like trying to like so hook her up or something. Yeah, it was weird. And I don't know. Then she's got some weird dynamic with her dad, where she was all like, "Daddy, why don't you kiss me anymore?" It's like, "Fuck you."
It's like, let me kiss this young boy.
Little boy, yeah. It was just like so many weird parental love blocks.
And then later he's wearing like some weird silk PJs that come up to his nipples. It's very strange.
There's a lot. That could have been a whole other movie in itself. But she was great. I love Natalie Wood. I'm not really a big fan. Maybe just because of this movie.
Huge fan.
I read her whole biography. Tragic death. That was a whole weird thing.
Richard Wagner? Robert. Different Wagner.
Yeah, whatever he is.
I mean, I haven't read the case file. So
it's weird. Go investigate, good listener. But that's a whole other podcast in itself.
That is indeed.
Anyway, should we move on to your favorite movie?
Goonies.
Is this your all-time number one favorite then? Not so much like mine.
It is very, very close.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, if it is not, like, it is certainly, without a doubt, the movie that I have seen the most number of times as a human who is alive now.
Awesome. Well, it came out in '85, directed by our friend Dick Donner.
He's great.
He's done a lot of weird, different movies. He even podcasted at the time of this posting. We even started a version of this podcast that was just us talking about movies, and some of these will appear later.
That's true.
And we did Scrooged, and that was another...
Was that a Dick Donner film?
Dick Donner
Scrooged
film.
is good.
Which is weird, though. This and Lethal Weapon, I think, was one of them.
I think you're right. Yeah, he might... Does he have an appearance in Lethal Weapon? I think he does like a cameo. He pops
up in all of them. Yeah. Like even this, was he one of the dudes that like rode up on the end? Like
it's them goobers.
Yeah, goobers is what he said.
It's them goobers.
That a goof. But it's weird because I feel like maybe not being quite a diehard Goonie fan, I always feel like everyone lumps this in as like because obviously Spielberg did the story, but everyone always just kind of assumes it's an early Spielberg movie, you know?
And I feel like not. It has that sort of Spielbergian nostalgia.
Yeah, for sure.
But
and all his crew, Kathleen Kennedy, everybody's involved, but did not direct it. But there was a lot of weird trivia stuff. It was like, felt like there was two directors. Like maybe Spielberg showed up and he would just be like, "All right, hey Dickie,
hey, what are we doing here?
How about we do this scene good?"
And, instead of your way.
Then,
what if this scene had a giant octopus in it? We'll cut it out later.
Yeah, what is with this octopus scene? Because they reference it at the end, but it's not in it.
Yeah, like in it, the end, Data says. The giant octopus was very scary.
Yeah.
But you never see it.
Yeah.
But if you buy the DVD or Blu-ray with special features, you'll get to see the octopus, and it's bad.
Is it on there? Is like a deluxe version now? It's
in the sort of like super deluxe release.
It wasn't on this one.
No, I don't think it is. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's bad.
Yeah,
it's bad.
You can see why they cut it.
It looks like a horrible puppet.
Yeah, well, they're usually right with those things.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason.
The Wampas, let's just cut them.
Leave it where it is.
But, so that's weird. Do you remember the very first time you watched?
The first time I saw it was with my mom. My brother and my sister, when it was at the theaters. We saw it at the Mall Movie Theater in Concord, North Carolina. And then relatively close to that, in that same summer, we caught it again at the beach at one of the very few vacations we ever took. And we went to a movie while we were at maybe Myrtle Beach. And I just remember specifically the experience of seeing it again and just loving it. Just being in love with it. Just like, this is so cool. Like, and then subsequently, subsequently, it's like we got the fan magazines. And I figured out, like,
were you about the same age?
Yeah, I figured out like which kid I was like closest in age to, like Corey Feldman. Yeah. So and just like my brother and sister and I I made a duplicate of the pirate treasure map and put like lemon juice all over it and stuck it in the broiler. Nice. We were home alone during the summer, and nobody was there to tell us not to do that. And,
that's a horrible.
It worked great and it looked super cool. I don't know what later happened to that thing, but we did do that. And I mean, everything, like we had a pretend Goonies themed restaurant during that summer where we would make sloth chunks,
sloth sliders,
just like stuff
all kind of flopping off to the side,
a little bit lumpy,
sloth dog.
I mean, it was just crazy how much we loved the movie, but we loved it.
Damn.
Yeah,
I saw it in the theater too. It was with Jeff Butler.
I love Jeff
Butler.
Butler.
Felt like maybe one other kid, but like, and I remember my older brother, maybe because he was a little older, was like very kind of like his negative vibe was seeping through a bit. And I was like, this looks fun, man. I want to see it. And no one was like, kept just like leaning in. He's like, One-Eyed Willie's the name of a dick, man. I was like, stop fucking ruining this, man. I'm trying to. And he just kept like,
damn you, Owen Connor.
Yes. Like,
Owen, you're about my age and you ruined it.
You ruined it. But I still enjoyed it. And, especially because I was into Data, I think.
Yeah, with those gadgets.
Post Temple of Doom, right?
Key Kwan.
And, so that was hooked. That's all it took for me. But, I mean, so much going on. How can a kid not love this movie? Other than there are some creepy, maybe not so inappropriate things by today's standards.
Yeah,
I don't know, but
there's a few creepy elements.
There's
for
some
sure.
creepy elements. It starts off with a hanging, even like a fake hanging.
Does.
Then the body.
Like you schmuck.
That's how he gets out.
Do you really think I'd kill myself?
Yeah, and then that's how he gets out. But I mean, just being like, whoa, that dude's fucking hanging.
I will claim on this podcast, therefore making it official, I have seen the movie so many times that I actually know
every line of dialogue.
Almost every line of dialogue. As I'm watching it, I know every line of dialogue. I don't know if I could just spit it out.
I always want to say, "Hey, you guys," but I feel like I don't get the enunciation.
Hey, you guys.
There you go. I always wanted to start a show off like that, like where it's like on your stage and like especially the Orangefield ones we did.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
We just like fucking black and like. And then the lights kick on.
That would be incredible.
Yeah, but I was always a little hesitant to just.
Dude who played Sloth is dead.
Really? He was a football player, right? For the Raiders?
John Matsusak, maybe, I think his
name
the
name didn't totally ring in football bills.
I feel like maybe it has something to do with steroid use, but it has more to do with the era he played.
His head did have a weird shape to it.
Yes. As did his penis.
And for the record, I do know that wasn't his actual head.
And I've never seen his penis, so please don't
So it
me.
Probably was his penis.
Yes, he had a penis-shaped head.
Oh, man. Well, so he might not be in the reboot that everyone keeps talking about.
Definitely dead.
We're bouncing around a lot, but are you on for a sequel, or do you think that's one of the worst ideas ever?
I feel like if everybody had aged and moved along as well as Sean Astin, maybe.
Wasn't held up, I think.
Yeah, he's perfectly fine. But Corey Feldman's a fucking train wreck.
Yeah, he'd be tough. He'd be like, I'm gonna wear my glittery glove. I'm like, no, you can't. You can't be Michael Jackson.
Take off some of the pancake
makes
makeup.
no sense for the mouth to be dressed as Michael Jackson
It's
on
insane. Yeah,
I forgot
Kwan,
about
or whatever his
him.
name is, like he's been out of
He's
acting for a
cool.
long time. And,
Yeah, but he, I'm sure he looks.
I mean, he's probably fine.
Chunk looks great now.
I mean, Josh Brolin's like in great shape. He's
like
the biggest star.
He is.
From the
Where'd
group.
that come from?
Who knew? Like Brand was gonna be. He was wearing fucking shorts on the outside of.
That was one of my
sweatpants.
notes. How many? There's a lot of shorts with sweatpants underneath.
Yeah, my brother
Was that
actually tried to
common?
pull that off for a while.
I tried that once, and I remember it. And I don't know if it was Goonie influenced or not.
Oh, it was Goonies.
I remember getting a pair of Mike McGill, going back to my love of 80s skateboarding. Mike McGill signature shorts or whatever the fuck I got.
Right. For
And it
which
was
he probably
cold.
got no money. Yeah.
And I wanted to wear them to school, and I was like, I should just wear sweatpants under them because people do that, right? And I remember, even though I was a small child, I asked my brother, I was like, people do that, right? And he's like, nobody does that. And I didn't do it. But I remember that moment being like, why did I think that was possible? And maybe it was Goonies. Like, watching this again, I was like, there's a lot of fucking shorts with sweatpants because it's Oregon, I guess.
And there's like some leg warmers.
Yeah, there's some great, a lot of Prince references. Purple Rain t-shirt,
love
posters. I mean, all-star cast. Sean Astin, Patty Duke's kid. By the way, going back to
not Sean Astin's kid, except for in the legal sense.
Or is it, Sean Astin?
Sean Astin is not John Astin.
Okay, not Sean Astin's
kid. Yes.
All right. Josh Brolin, James Brolin, was that his dad?
James Brolin
was
his dad. Yeah. Eternally tanned.
And of course, Corey Feldman. Everybody knows Data, star of. Yeah, it seems like he did so much more, but I mean, I guess
he had the
Temple
two
Doom
really
and that.
big,
It's like I had him on my list of like fucking blockbusters.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, those are two pretty good movies.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna be in two movies,
I have a vague recollection that maybe he was in Gleaming the Cube, but I think that is false.
Nah, that was a different Asian kid.
Yeah, you racist piece of crap.
But he wasn't in Encino Man, which I'm not.
Was he in Encino Man?
Apparently, according to his website, it might have been even just a bit part or something.
Maybe
I saw that movie like once.
He just played some dirt.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're digging out the pool.
And I remember hearing that he was like a professor now out at like some college.
I remember hearing that
be like
he has done some fight choreography.
Yeah, that was the other. It seemed more confirmed that he's like actually worked on movie sets as like a martial arts what do you call
stunt
it? Like
choreographer.
Some kind of.
It's got Martha Plimpton, George Plimpton's niece, maybe.
Which one's she?
She is Steph.
Oh yeah, the nerdy girl.
Yeah,
she's been in a bunch of stuff. She's cool.
Oh yeah,
and so she's hung in there. And surprised Carrie Green, Andy. Lucas was great. I love that movie. You ever see Lucas?
Yeah,
Corey Haim.
She's in Lucas. Yeah,
and,
Corey Haim.
Winona Ryder's one of her early ones. Chunk, not so much.
Chunk is, I think, now a lawyer in the living
lawyer?
in the area where in Astoria. That they filmed. I don't know if that's true. And bald.
That's how I got the job.
Well, he later went on to do like a Fantastic Stories or a.
Seems pretty fit.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's lean,
like a big
mean.
Lump of crap.
No, man, he's 85% muscle.
That movie would do it. They're all fat shaming him.
Yeah,
and stuff. There's like a lot of weird stuff like that, you know?
Do the truffle shuffle.
Yeah, that'll scar a kid.
Do it. And he's like constantly wearing like a flowered shirt and plaid pants.
Oh, poor kid. There's a lot of weird shit in that movie though too. Like just doing the weird scenes of like things that whole ending scene. Like they just really hodgepodge a bunch of shit when they all come crawling out of like the rocks and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And the cops show up, and then like Sloth just lifts that cop for no reason, and then they put him down, and everyone's fine with it. And then
they're like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, there's just like so many weird things.
Today, shoot him.
And like Data's dad pulls out the camera. It's like this stereotype. It's like, and showing that poor girl's butt so many times crawling around, like when she's got the little skirt on, Carrie Green's.
I never noticed that.
There's a lot of butt in that movie.
Interesting.
But let's see, what else I got? The scene where Data falls and the teeth
Yeah.
That seems...
the Pinches Apparel.
There's a lot of levels of suspended belief of like where it goes from like a very... Because there is like weird, scary shit too in the sense that we were like thinking about like you know, the dead body and stuff that they would probably just kind of work around in like obvious kid movies nowadays, you know, but they were just like, in those days, like, yeah, whatever, we'll start it out with a fake...
not gonna hurt them.
With a fake hanging and skulls and all these like weird things. But then there's also like the scary adult side of like the foreclosure of the houses and stuff. I mean, it's just like, there's a lot of heavy shit.
Oh, it's got levels.
It does. There's a lot. So,
I told you it's Dad's business.
Yeah, it's like the whole motive of why they're doing this, you know? It's so weird. Sloss balls all over that kid's head.
Oh my God, he's like hugging him at the end. I was going to mention that. He's like, slow, love, Chuck. His face is on his
it's
crotch.
So comical, yeah, but he's just like rubbing it. He's like, God, I love you. He's just rubbing his nuts off. And then he's like, you can live with me. And it doesn't just sound like a, hey, we'll take Lassie home kind of thing. It's like literally like, no, this fucking dude's going to like live with him. It like totally should have just cut to the mom being like, no, he's not going to live in our base.
Too big.
Yeah, but
we don't have that many baby Ruths.
And, you know, do you think his head was really that misshapen because she dropped him? I mean, that was a hell of a drop.
He'd probably be dead.
Yeah.
You would think.
There's other issues going on, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, he had something else going on to begin with.
What a mess.
There's no doubt.
Man, well, shit. Any closing thoughts? Should we move on?
It is the single greatest film.
Number one with a bullet.
Impact of my life. Yeah. Like, I don't know if I would say it's the best movie I've ever seen, but it was definitely the most influential. Yeah. And I loved it as a kid.
Stuck with you that much. So it was all just kind of that first viewing and you just kept...
It just sucked me in. This like adventure of kids my age. Yeah. I love it.
Let's move on to music.
Let's do it.
Speaking of number one with a bullet. Boom, boom, boom. That was a lyric in a Fugazi song, I believe.
Yes.
Track, I don't have the track listing, but Nice New Outfit, maybe?
Yeah.
Was that one?
Yep.
Yeah, so Fugazi, man, like I was saying, it's one of those bands I should know better.
You should.
They're my rebel without cause. But for some reason, they still don't pull me in. I dug it. I'm digging it. I like it even more. Every time I listen to it, I like it more. So that's got to stand for something. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's funny. I was just like listening to it, and I still dig it. But yeah, it was weird. I guess Fugazi's second official album, maybe.
Let's see.
Because then I was like, well, where the fuck was Waiting Room on? Because that was kind of my
Waiting
favorite.
Room was on
like an EP maybe like the first EP or something.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, and this was like I guess their second album where they were kind of like you said going into their stride. Is fans say,
like people like a lot of fans will say, you know, In on the Kill Taker came next. And I think a lot of really big fans will say, oh, that's where they really kind of find the sound and they become what they are. And to me, it's more like it's a false thing to just say, you know, they gelled and became Fugazi, you know?
Right.
And it is like a very, like, you know, Waiting Room, that album is a very different album and it's kind of raw and it is sort of not what the next album is. And the next album, Study Diet Nothing, is kind of awkward and they're still figuring things out and you know Guy is still you know doing vocals and kind of starting to work and getting to do some guitar and stuff.
Is that the other guy? Guy, not Guy?
Yeah, Guy. And
so he doesn't continue to go 50-50 with them all the way through their career?
They actually, as you get further on, I think Guy probably has a little more influence as it goes. Yeah. But like at very first, I think he just did vocals. Yeah. And like if you see really early shows, which you can find on YouTube, it's just Guy is singing and Ian is singing and playing guitar, and then you got Brendan doing drums and Joe playing a bass. And I think at that time, Joe Lally, I think his name, was actually learning to play the bass. So it was like, you know, just very sort of like start at this, you know, we can do some shows, let's do some shows.
Four-piece, right?
Right. We'll figure out kind of what we're doing and how it goes. And there are certain songs that Fugazi would play live, and I've seen him live a number of times. that they just never put on an album because they were still figuring them out in concert, live. And there is like a logical progression, but I don't think it's like, accurate to put this sort of qualitative thing on it that at this point they became Fugazi. They're really what they are. Well, I mean, they were what they were, and each new
was their next album like their most like kind of popular or breakthrough kind of thing?
I guess none of it really. Of all their albums, like in my mind, I think In on the Kill Taker, amongst people who are really fans, they probably like that one a lot. There was an album called Red Medicine that came out, and then
more now.
Yeah, that I really enjoy, and I think it's really, really good. And if I had to pick a favorite, it would be that one. But that's not to say that I feel like, that's when they became the band. Like, you just are what you are at a given moment.
What do you think the one before this was? What was the
one before Steady Diet of Nothing?
Yeah.
I think is...
Was it that drastically different? Or was the difference between...
I think that you start to get more of Guy kind of like coming in and really being a part instead of an accompaniment. Okay. And you get... Like, Ian MacKaye had been in Minor Threat.
He was the main dude in Minor Threat, right? Was he the only singer?
He was the singer. He didn't play guitar. He could play, or was learning to play anyway. I don't really know the details of that. And then he did, like, a few side projects like Egg Hunt, which we'll talk about. He was in a group called Palehead. He was in a band called Embrace. Yeah. Embrace is really good, but it's just... good, like they're just trying so damn hard that it's hard to really, really love it, and it's hard for it to hold up. And then Fugazi comes along, and it was just this, I think, sort of organic sort of progression, because at that time you didn't have to be this fully formed thing, especially because they had Discord that Ian had started with a guy from Minor Threat, so they could say, we got some songs, let's put them out, and you can sing Guy and you doing the bass and you're whatever. And it was just, I agree that it was different in an earlier version of, and that they progressed from there. I just like, there had to be some worth and some real Fugaziness in that, or people wouldn't have started listening to it. So yeah,
that's pretty cool. I think that's quite a dynamic they had. Like, it seems like a really tight band too by the point where the other dudes in Fugazi like pulled out from other things, or do you think
let's see, Guy was in a group called Rites of Spring. I do not
prior to Fugazi
and Rites of Spring, there's I think you can on discord.com you can probably buy Rites of Spring maybe discography or a single album, and it's a good album. I enjoy it.
Because the rhythm section is fucking crazy. Like, they're tight. Like, I was totally expecting maybe more just Minor Threat in the sense of, like, maybe I've just had heard more Minor Threat stuff, like, thinking it was more just straight up punk, kind of thing. And this was just, like, really great playing, whether I liked it or not, even. It was just, like, wow, that fucking dude's like tearing it up, and like the bass is like.
I always felt like the bass and the drums were like consistently from the first album through the last, like, are this bass that allows sort of Ian and Guy to towards as they progress. I would say there's more between the two guitarists, an orchestration of noise, and there's always that sort of like solid bass behind it.
For sure. There's just like great foundation laid down, and like usually the hooks almost are in the bass lines and the drum beats. I felt like strange enough too, and then finding out in hindsight that this was like the first one where they didn't get the producer they wanted or something, so they produced it themselves. Like, I felt like, and I couldn't tell if it was like more just 90s production that was kind of bugging me, but the drum tones like sounded like really just kind of weird. Some of the hits were a little weird, but like for how good the drums were, I was like, there's just, it was more, it didn't bother me so much, but it was just weird sounding, like kind of that like kind of, it wasn't like a big full like studio, but a lot of that's just that punky DIY kind of approach that they took to it, but it was weird for just how like obviously talented they were. I was like, I don't know if I dig the sound of those drums, but the dude's fucking tearing it up.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And like, and I was kind of surprised with the two vocalists because I was never, even aware of the other guy, and like, but it was funny too, like even like blindly marking which songs I liked. I initially kind of liked his more.
Yeah.
And I was
like as much as I want to like
Ian's
songs better, a lot of times I like
his
songs
because I was like shit, like I found something that listed him out, who had like the lead vocal. I was like, oh fuck, that wasn't him, and I was like, oh okay, cool, because like Ian MacKay's were like definitely more like straight up punky stuff, or it was just like he was a little more tone deaf and just like, which it is what it is, and you get into it more and seeing like the connections to like maybe just because it's Miley, because I'm more Black Flag is like what I know, and that like which one sounded more like the vocals kind of were more Rollins style, right. And like but even those, like I kept flip-flopping back and forth, where I was like, nice new outfit had kind of more of a Black Flag cadence to the vocals and stuff, but then there was like another one where I was like, okay, well maybe it's just the one dude, and then I was like, oh no, he kind of did it too. So, maybe it was one of the Egg Hunt ones I thought was a little more kind of Black Flag-y sounding, but yeah, I definitely had those like marked as the ones I liked more of that, and Exit Only, and Long Division was cool. It's definitely like, it's a little sloppy, like, but it was kind of cool because it had more like, I'm like, punk-wise, I always like it when it has a little bit more of a melody and catchy to it, and that song just had like the, oh, okay. And that was like the most memorable one. That was like my most, like songs that I dug when I was listening to it, but I was like, they just weren't really like memorable for some reason. I think maybe if I just listened to it more, it would like start to seep in a bit more, but like I'm just traditionally a little bit more like verse, chorus kind of dude, and they break that for sure, because like a lot of it is like weird sections, like we were talking about earlier, with like a weird, which is cool because it's technically awesome and different, and almost like the band I played in, If You Want Us, like we were talking about, where it's like we did a lot of that shit, and it was like so weird, and even while playing that, I wasn't the one writing those parts, so I was kind of like, is this right? Should we be doing this? And it seemed like, I don't know if you had any similar thoughts or connections to our songs through that or what, but it was just so weird, like where it'd be like a verse, then you have like the big catchy chorus, then it would just go into like a kind of thing, and it was like fucking love playing that kind of stuff with Ryan and stuff, but like listener wise, everything that I like, as we'll see with the Morrissey stuff, it's definitely more like he does his own little weird variations, but like I tend to like stuff to just be like a little more like, all right. And that's what another weird factor too was we saw somebody like around this age too, 91 and stuff, like in DC, like we would go up to Black Cat and see so many live shows and stuff. I never saw Fugazi somehow, like, which is almost crazy just by default. You think they would have crossed paths somewhere, but but like one of those bands that always just came up, but like we never actually saw them. And but for how many opening acts we saw, like local or just traveling around that time, and we had like the name of like opening band act, and they would come out and they would just play these songs, and a lot of them were just like, where they just go like, like they would rock out, and it's so funny like listening to this, I was like, oh, they were just trying to rip off Fugazi now, like it makes like so much more sense to me now, because like at the time I was just like, what the fuck are these people trying to do? And it was just like this really kind of just boring version of that, like where they just couldn't like have the cool hooks in, because a lot of these Fugazi ones were cool because like they would go into like a weird part after the chorus, but it was catchy still, it was like there's still like a cool riff going or something, whether it even just be like the guitar was just doing a chord, but then the bass line would be doing something really cool. There's a lot of really cool bass lines also.
Yeah, he's good. But he actually put out at least one solo album playing his guitar, cool. Joe Lally. On a sort of small record label, but I think it was distributed by Discord, so cool. He's good. Yeah, I was going to ask if all these guys kind of popped up. I kind of briefly looked to see if they like emerged, but I didn't see. I think Guy, it's one of those words you never actually hear pronounced. Pico. What's it? Pico de Guy. I think he produced a few bands. Ian moved on after they kind of, the band has never sort of dissolved officially, but They haven't done anything in a long time, and
so it wasn't like bad terms or anything.
No. I think they never broke up. They just haven't done another album.
Yeah.
So it's out there. I guess it's a possibility. But Ian has a child and a wife, and his wife plays drums, and they're a duo called the Evens, and they've put out 2 albums.
Okay.
And
is it just him with his wife?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She plays drums, he plays a baritone guitar, and there's some good songs on those albums. There's one called The Evens, there's one called let's say The Evens Get Evens, there's one called The Evens The Odds. There might be a third one that I'm blanking out because I've had a lot to drink, which Ian would disapprove of.
Straight edge, right?
Very straight. I mean,
still, did he ever sway?
I mean, as far as I know, no. But know, I mean,
because that was the more minor threat thing, right?
Right.
Like from the.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he won. He's 50-some years old.
After all, he's like, "Fuck it, I want to."
Probably, and I think he's vegetarian. Yeah. Maybe that provides a window, but.
Political.
Yeah, he's a political. I think he's actually spoken to Congress.
Nice.
I think that he does speaking engagements now at some college campuses. I think, like one of the last times I saw him, which has been a while, he, was just kind of talking politically, because a lot of songs are sort of politically motivated. He's like, look, I'm not saying you should be Republican or Democrat. I don't give a shit. But, like if you're a Republican, you need to get your fucking moderation on, and if you're a Democrat, you need to get your shit together so that your ideas can get out there. And it should be. One of the last things I read online, he was just saying, I don't care if Trump was voted in specifically, we as a nation did that, and we have to suffer through that, but it shouldn't be that the rest of the world has to, because we elected Trump. That should be our fucking problem. Right. And I kind of feel that way. I didn't vote for Trump, but it's kind of like, we did it on our watch. It's kind of our responsibility, so what are we going to do? I think he's a smart guy.
It's good. Yeah, and he's held up then. It seems like he's pretty, hasn't just faded off and been
I think he's still playing music. I think he's still skateboarding.
God bless him.
Yeah.
Awesome. Egg Hunt then, I guess, real quick, was the other one you gave me. It was a 2-song single, I guess, before Fugazi even emerged, right?
Yeah.
Cool songs. I dug it. So the first one's mostly instrumental, right? A couple little chants maybe in there, but cool riffs, cool chord progression is what I wrote down. I dug it. I'm not a big instrumental rock kind of dude, but it was a cool jam.
I just to me, it's very much of its time, which was probably 86.
Yeah, 86. Yeah.
And it's just like a little sort of moment in time, post Minor Threat, pre Fugazi and Embrace. Jeff Nelson, drummer from Minor Threat, played on it with Ian MacKaye from Minor Threat. And I think, one of the things that broke up Minor Threat was, some of the guys in the band are like, hey, there's this new band, U2, and they sound really cool, we should be doing stuff like that. And,
wow.
Ian was not into that, and this is just the thing they did instead of that. They recorded, I think, at a place in England called Southern Studios that Discord then had a relationship with, at least for some amount of time.
Yeah.
Just on a trip there to check out the studios. They just kind of knocked this out, and
cool.
It's cool.
Yeah,
I enjoy it.
Dig it. Where did where did you fall in the initial timeline as far as getting into them? Was it?
I think. Yeah, it was in the 90s. Yeah. They had put out an album or two. I think the first album came out in 89, maybe. Yeah. I graduated high school in 92. And I did not come from a family that really listened to a lot of music, at least not sort of with intention or deliberately. So it was not until I went to college that I started listening to music, and people were like, hey, you should check this out, and it was just kind of right in their wheelhouse where I guess people say hitting their stride. And I was like, oh, this is great. I love this.
Was it like the music, the lyrics, what snagged in? And
I think it was just the sound. I mean, just sort of the experience, and then going to see him live, and just, I just felt like.
Where'd you see him live first?
The first time I saw him live was at the Washington Monument, or right beside the Washington Monument, Washington, D.C. We heard they were playing a show, and we had said before, oh man, if they're ever playing anywhere, even kind of near us, we should just go. And my roommate Amy and Brian and my friend Ron's sister, whose name I just blanked on, which is real bad.
Like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah. I can't believe you're a major podcast star and you fucked up my name. We were just like, well, let's just jump in the car and drive up there. And we just drove up there. We found like a really shitty.
Was it part of the festival or just?
It was just like they were playing at this stage that's kind of on the mall, and right near within the shadow of the Washington Monument. We heard they were playing, and we were just like, well, we don't have to have a ticket, and let's just drive up there. So we all kind of chipped in on gas money. We drove up there in Brian's car overnight. We stayed at a shitty, horrible, cheap motel, just terrible. And we didn't have any, we didn't bring any food. It didn't occur to us to bring much. Amy had brought a ball of Gouda, so we would just pass around and eat chunks off of it. And we saw Fugazi play. I think.
What year was this?
96. 95 maybe.
Should have swung by my house.
I should
have. You could have hung out in the basement.
You and Donald.
We would have been there.
Jeff Butler.
There's like a 98% chance we would have been there in the basement, drinking beers, drinking some rolling rocks.
Yeah, we had a good time, and then we just drove straight back down and just completely exhausted. And Laura Dillahay was her name. Yeah. Sorry, Ron. Sorry, Laura. And it was just I think a lot of that. I already liked their music, and I was aware of them and listened to them and everything. But it's just like so many things. Maybe as you get older, you just have this. It's contextual, I very much remember driving all the way up there and just being exhausted and having nowhere to stay, find the shittiest, cheapest motel.
Just like that. What the fuck's gonna happen next? Feeling and they're the glue that held it all together.
Right, and you're just we didn't plan to do it. We didn't know what was happening until the last minute. The internet was in its infancy, and that's how we found out. Somewhere on the internet, and we're like, we gotta do it. And we just went up there and did it, and just there's just that window of time when you're it didn't occur to us to tell anybody where we were going, what we were doing.
Of responsibility.
Yeah, we were just let's just go, let's just do it, and it turned out fine. But it was so fun. It was so awesome. I met Ian at that show. Ian, if you're listening, I met you, and he was a good guy. He was just talking to people before the show started, and we kind of walked up there.
Work up next time.
Yeah, we just milled around until we're kind of next. But everybody who stopped to talk to him, he had something to say too. The people before us were literally Japanese tourists. And he was like, "Oh yeah, we've played in Hokkaido or whatever. It's nice." And everybody who talked to me had something to say to, and we were like, we just came from North Carolina. He's like, oh yeah, do you know? He's like, where from? We're like, Cullowhee. Nobody's ever heard of it. He's like, is that anywhere? I think it was Dillsboro. Is that anywhere near Dillsboro? We're like, kind of. And he's like, oh, my grandma lives there. Her name is Burrell, or Burrell. And I was like, Burrell? He's like, yeah, he Burrells? And I was like, I think we would call them Burrells, but yeah.
She's different.
Yeah. I mean, so it was just everybody who wanted to talk to me. He was eating a banana.
Yeah, you wouldn't think he would be the chatty crowd type.
He just was good at talking to people, and then they played a show. I think a lesbian couple got married as we were standing there, and and he was like, "Hey, this is totally cool, unless this is bullshit, and you just don't just do it just to do it." And yeah, it was cool. You know, it just seemed so awesome. I loved it. Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Probably too much Fugazi.
Nah.
Hashtag Fugazi.
Hell no, they can't have enough Fugazi.
That's probably true. So I'm sorry you don't love it, but I'm glad you didn't hate it.
It did open a world. I want to investigate more.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm still intrigued. I'm like, And I think a lot of it actually had to do because they weren't a very visual band. Like, you didn't see their videos and shit. Like, I was like, that was kind of my peak, like, video age, you know, and stuff. And like, so like, just the fact that they didn't, because they're always like a band that like mutual friends would be like, yeah, I fucking love Fugazi, getting them fucking Fugazi tattoo and shit. You know? I'm like, all right, cool. And I'd always hear it, you know, being around. I never like didn't like it, you know, and it's still like the same way where I'm like, yeah, it's cool. And like, I just kind of want to listen to it a little bit more, you know, and like, but yeah, I think it maybe just because I was so influenced by like that visual age of around those early 90s where I like had to just have like a cool video like knock it home for me or seeing them live or something like that, you know, like I could totally see that experience where if I saw them live I would be like, yeah, fuck
Gavin is a man who to this day has a suitcase of VHS.
I do, I'm a visual man.
Yeah,
I will
like video
be the first
music.
to admit it. I think a video can destroy a song.
Oh, absolutely.
But it can also like really
just
pull it
make
in.
it happen.
Yeah. Something about like just seeing even like a fair interpretation of it, like it's more like if I feel like a band like cares enough about a song to make a video for it, then I will give it a good listen. You know, it's like I don't know what it is.
They bothered to make a video, so it must be good.
It's like just knowing what the chosen single is. It's like, well, if you care enough to declare this as your single, I will listen to it.
I'll give it a try.
If you think this is your best song, then I will dig in. But yeah, I don't know why. And
they did have a guy named Jem Cohen, I think his name is, just took a bunch of live footage and put it together and like interview footage and make a movie called Instrument. And Instrument's good. It's cool. An interesting kind of a
They probably have videos and live shit floating around.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like there are any numbers of sort of live shows available online and.
Not the kind of thing that popped up on 120 minutes.
Right, and they were like the type of band, they were just like, if you wanted to come and film the show, they were like, no one told you not to do it.
That's awesome. So yeah, they seemed really cool about all angles on that kind of thing.
Right, so, you know, there are plenty of, you know, copies of live shows out there. So check them out.
Sweet. Fugazi,
yeah.
Little known band.
That's a little known band. Nobody knows of. You go check it out.
Except for Gavin. He's the one person there.
And Gavin assigned to me Morrissey.
Morrissey, yes.
Your arsenal.
Yeah.
Your arse and all.
It's Sentimental Attachment is
1992.
On this one. Yeah, so like I don't know, like it's his third official solo album. Fourth if you count Bone and Drag, which everyone in America kind of does because it's a collection of singles. See Ryan Adams, he'll discuss about it. But yeah, so like I don't know. I mean, I was like a huge Smiths fan from my brothers even at a young age. I mean, in 92, I was at the point of this release, I figured it out because I remember I was like somewhere in high school, but it was like literally right the summer before my sophomore year of high school.
I was going to say, yeah, because I would be going into senior year.
Yeah, so like I was aware and like the Smiths even had his like previous albums in middle school and shit, but like this one came out and it just like blew me away because it was like he finally had the band together, and like the other ones he like once he went solo was like you could kind of tell he was just like working with the producer, you know, and I love them still and they're great and I still probably could argue that they're my favorite Morrissey one, but this one was just like he got Boz and Alan and Spencer and Gary and the gang together, and they just fucking rocked because everything was rocking in the 90s.
Oh,
you know, like this is around
a lot of guitar.
Nirvana. Everyone realized how dumb keyboards were since the 80s. You know, it'll come back, but like at this point in time, everybody was switching to guitars and. He fucking delivers, which is weird though too, because like I don't really love rockin' Morrissey so much versus, you know, like sad and sentimental Morrissey you could do with any instrument really, but like but I just felt like this was like the perfect like crossover of like the music gelling, because he's such a weird songwriter style where like he writes his lyrics and melodies over songs that were written by the band, so they basically will like rock out in the studio and come up with riffs and chord progressions. I mean it's always kind of a mystery how he does it, but like And, it's hit or miss, like sometimes they'll have like a cool song, but his lyrics are kind of what? And then there'll be like where he's like nailing it and the band just doesn't really deliver it. Yeah, and it's like, but I felt like at this point because he had gotten them as the touring band for the previous album, Kill Uncle, which a lot of people didn't like so much. So they, had just kind of dived into this album. It was just a huge, breakthrough for him. I felt like in mainstream side of like everything in alternative was kind of breaking through on that side around 92 because of Nirvana or whatever reason, and it was like the one that like got him on like the Tonight Show and shit. He was playing You're the One for Me, Fatty, and all those. I mean, there's a lot of, I could really just set the stopwatch on this and just go with it, but I love it. It was funny because you had said like, I don't know, kind of text, and I re-listened to it like I was mowing the lawn, and I was like, I need to listen to Fugazi a little bit more, and it's like kick-ass high energy music, but it was like with the mower going and like blasting in my ears, everything was just kind of like, and I couldn't really make out that much. I was like, well, I haven't listened to Your Arsenal like in its entirety in a long time. I'll throw that on while I'm pushing it around because I know it already, and like I threw it on. I was like, oh my god, like because I was all ready to almost kind of bash it. I was like, yeah, it's probably pretty dated sounding, and who knows with Morrissey, but I was just like. I was totally just like fucking pushing them on the hill going, you're the one for me, fatty. And I was just like, I don't know what it is. It must be sentimental. It must be my love of Morrissey in general. But it was just like so fucking good. I loved it. I mean, there was definitely weird momentum things with the album.
Yeah, I think that the hit to me on the album is We Hate It When Our Friends Become Successful. That's a great.
I was like, just I think the lead-off single.
Yeah, I really enjoyed
it. Morrissey,
and sort of the nadir of the album, the worst part would be, what was it? We'll Let You Know. Mm-hmm. It just kind of it just sort of devolves into just like noise.
I was surprised that was track 3 when you sent that to me. I was all like, "Oh, there's no way that's that early in the album."
Yeah, I guess it is. Whale noises and like spacey crap and like what the fuck is? And he's just kind of in the background. It's just it's kind of hard to hang in with that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But more than that, having listened to it a bunch, like coming to and from work in the last week or so. What is most surprising to me, because I'm not a huge Morrissey fan, I don't dislike Morrissey at all, or the Smiths, and I definitely know a lot of people who are into him, so I'm conversant. To me, what carries most Morrissey songs that or that are very popular, like I am human, is his voice, like his instrument, And in this one, it is, comparatively speaking, really almost obtrusively guitar heavy. And I mean, maybe you just chalked it up to 1992. And not to the point that it ruins his vocals or anything, but like it's hard to believe he was just like, yeah, let's do this, because. I mean, maybe what I like about Our Friends Become Successful is like I think he may just like immediately start in singing that song, and
it is probably the most Morrissey one on it, really, to be honest. Like when you look at like his later works and stuff, it is all like these clever lines placed everything, and that one does kind of just come blazing out.
So a lot of the songs on there are good and I enjoy it, but it is sort of surprisingly guitar-y. And I wouldn't even say sort of nice. Like I don't listen to it and think it's dated per se. It's just weirdly guitar-y given what I expect from a Morrissey song.
But it makes sense, because like might be kind of why I love it too, in a sense, because I know all that other Morrissey stuff, and I know when he's carrying the song and stuff, and like to me, I think that was like kind of the relief of this one was because I felt like I dug the band and I dug what they were doing, so it was cool kind of to see him step back a little bit and just kind of like almost embrace this like it was a new band, like it was like another Smiths kind of deal, because he kind of did that with the Smiths a little bit more too, where there might even be like an instrumental song or something, God forbid, like Johnny Marr did something.
Center.
Because like all the other previous like Morrissey solo stuff, it was all like, all right, I got this great line and this great, everything was just kind of centered around the vocal melody, and like there was no real comfort level of him just kind of like sitting back and like as ridiculous as there was certain ones like November Spawn the Monster where it just turned into these like instrumental jams of like and he's like but I mean I don't know, I felt like it worked, it gelled so much with this band, and and they lasted, I guess, the tour before and this album and maybe into the next one. I think they lost the bass player even before the next album officially. But so it was pretty short-lived, but it was like a pretty strong core that he finally had. And Boz, one of the guitarists, stuck with him. He's even with him now. Oh. And Alan was like one of the main songwriters, was kind of through the core of his great years, and like kind of even co-writes occasionally without touring with him and stuff. So. But yeah, it's a weird '90s gem. I feel like
he's like these pictures of Morrissey on the cover, back are like some of the most disturbing.
He's with tongue hanging out. He's like a microphone. I used to wear the T-shirt of that all through high school.
he's got abs kind of.
Yeah, he's all ripped. And did you catch the Mick Ronson reference? He's the producer dude. He was going back to, we're not sure how these will air yet, but he was the Spider from Mars guitarist, Bowie dude, and dude that left before Diamond Dogs but was a big producer guy, played with Bowie, and produced like so many like Transformer, Lou Reed, and T-Rex, and all those.
But not the Transformers movies.
Nah, it didn't have anything to do with those. We can't blame him for. No. But yeah, so it was like a big, which probably explains the awesome guitar.
His name was real familiar, but I just don't know enough.
Yeah, so he was.
History to...
That was like his big producing. With Morrissey, which is a big deal for Morrissey, and a lot of weird things like that, and first Grammy nomination, Morrissey, maybe, and I remember as a kid being like so insulted. That was a big deal with like, it was Wish by The Cure, which was like a huge album for me because that was the first time I saw them live, was on the Wish tour in '92, and this album was also nominated in B-52's Good Stuff, which is technically a terrible album, but like I love them on the heels of Cosmic Thing and all that. Yeah. But they lost to Tom Waits, and I didn't know who Tom Waits was at the time. I hated Tom Waits for so long just because the Grammy still meant something to me as a kid. I was like, how the fuck could your Arsenal
nobody
or Wish not win it? Which means total bullshit knowing the Grammys now, but and Tom Waits is great, of course, but he deserves
it. He is what he
is. Yeah, so, but I still would take Your Arsenal or Wish over any Tom Waits album. But that's, I'm sure many people would argue.
They would argue, and that's okay. You're wrong, but it's okay.
Yeah, but, fucking sentimental as shit. This album just like totally... Like football practice. I know football keeps coming up almost as much as Harry Connick Jr. on this podcast.
Star Turtle, yeah.
So that's really my real reason for this podcast, is just to have an outlet to talk about my days.
Did you know I played
football in high school? Yeah. But I had to have been the only kid in football drill lines of hitting each other, playing, but thinking in my head, oh, the pain in my arms. Oh, the last song, Tomorrow, I love so much. And it's just like, for some fucking reason, like it came out, I guess, in July. So like by August, of those horrible 2 days in the heat, we're just beating the shit out of each other. I was thinking Morrissey songs in my head. It just shows why I was not meant to be on a football field.
I didn't progress past there. That and the horrific car accident.
Yeah, so there you go. So that had a lot to do with it. I don't know. So many great lyrics. The fucking... I know it's going to happen someday.
Like very intelligent lyricist.
Yeah. We hate it when our friends become successful too. Other than just the concept of that being genius, but like the fact he can do a whole last verse of just like, oh.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I love it, because it's like the funnest. If you're me and you can't sing it all, you're like, this is so fun.
And he does that on numerous songs. Smiths even, like, you just always stretch it back to last verse. Yeah, just moan it or la 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 la
Yeah,
la la la.
yeah. I can la la la.
I love it. But yeah, so many great ones. It was weird, yeah, because we'll let you know is the third one that you were like, what the fuck's going on? Yeah, that's weird because then it goes into like the drums at the end. It's like
it just sort of like falls apart to me.
Yeah, it's not one of my favorites. I feel like the album officially starts with National Front Disco.
I was about to say, like, that's the first really
the other ones are cool, but
appealing song on there to me.
And it's weird that it's a short album for the 90s. Because, like, we even talked about that in our worst episode with Hasselhoff and Star Turtle. By the 90s, even by 92, I think it was pretty natural to have, like, at least 12 songs.
Absolutely.
Stretching into 14 and 15.
Especially, like, you start, like, CDs start coming out, like, we can pack some songs in there. That's cool. Yeah, and like if you just kind of glance at the cover, it's sort of easy to convince yourself there are like 10 or 12 songs, but they just have really long titles.
He's notorious for it's like we hate it when our friends become successful. Jesus,
it's like can you just pare it down?
But
I know it's gonna happen someday.
Yeah, that was like one of my favorites.
That's a good one.
And Bowie covered that one too, so might be. Yeah, and that one's just like sad Morrissey, like at his like old and new finest, you know, where it's like, my love, wherever you are, whatever you are, don't lose faith. I know it's gonna happen. It's like, that's fucking genius.
Morrissey.
But National Front Disco just caught all this flack too from being like National Front's like the, you know, far right, like political group, even neo-Nazi, and like they're all like, what the fuck are you talking about? And like, England for the English, but it's all in quotes. It's about like somebody's son like going and like basically becoming like a fucking skinhead, you know, and like losing your son, like David, and it's like, you know, it's sad because their kids like gone to this like horrible direction, but like everyone's like, what the fuck, you know, like writing all these like Nazi songs. So he's got all these like racism shit from NME like in the 90s and stuff, but it was like,
I mean, look at him, he's clearly racist, it's horrible,
like, right.
Ultra conservative,
the crazy, you know, vegan is gonna be a neo-Nazi for sure,
with his tongue hanging out of his head.
But yeah, I mean, I love it. I still feel like it was timeless. I was almost ready to bash it because I was like, it's got to be dated at this point. But I would
not, like, you don't listen to it and say, oh, it's so 90s.
Yeah,
which I kind of expected. So,
but yeah, I mean, the guitar stuff is a weird 90s wrinkle for sure. Like everybody did it, even The Cure with Wish. It was like everything shifted from keyboards to guitar, and I kind of credit Nirvana for all that. It was just everybody was just kind of done with like bad 80s synths and stuff. So it was like, especially by early 90s, everybody was like trying to work their guitars in and, you know, get a little more rocking, and he did it. So I don't know, would you say, well, how would you rate it with other Morrissey stuff? Sorry to kind of monopolize with my sentimental babbling.
Say, oh man, what is my scale?
Yeah, like, I don't know. Let's see. What was your frame of reference, maybe, with Morrissey?
My frame of reference. Well,
just random singles, you think? Or?
Yeah, yeah, like not like knowing full albums. I would say, you know,
let's say out of 5 stars.
Out of 5 stars, I'm going to give it 3.5.
Yeah,
3.5 pumpkins out of 5.
A little too much guitar.
Yeah. And it's weird because I expected to kind of go into it and it be maybe more avant-garde than it is.
Yeah, and
less sort of guitar-y than it is. And when it wasn't that, I expected to not like it. But the more you listen to it, you're like, hey, these are really good songs. Like some of these are really tight, good songs. Like, and you listen to the lyrics, and you're like, oh man, that's really clever, and it's just really well constructed. It's a good album, I would say, for sure.
Cool.
I enjoyed listening to it for a week. So there you go.
Yeah, I wonder like if the follow up would be more. That he kind of tones it down on the next one, and then like. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. He's got a weird dynamic of what he. Because I mean, like, how'd you feel with the singles and shit? You're like pretty cool with like Every Day's Like Sunday. And Suede Head and
it's
all
just
those.
like very sort of melodic and float along with it, and again, like the primary instrument in those songs, whatever else is going on, is Morrissey and his voice, and I mean that's with good reason. Yeah, I mean, he is an instrument.
That's right.
And some would say a tool.
Yeah.
Not me. No one in this podcast, but people.
How dare they?
And these are a little less so than that. But
was there like one that was an absolute dud? I guess we'll let you know. Was that
I just like, and even like it kind of starts okay, but towards the end you're just like, what in the fuck is going on? Like,
you're the one for me, Fatty. Did that stand out as weird or
no? I thought it was a perfectly good song. Like it would just sort of like was just in the album and good to me. It wasn't the best, but I enjoyed it. I didn't, it was not remarkable to me more so than others. So I don't know why it was the 6th track. We hated when
there's
friends
some weird
become
order.
Successful.
This stuff is always debatable about like shuffling. You could always just kind of shuffle them around, and half the time when he remasters or reissues an album, they'll all be like in completely different order. It's like doesn't make any sense. And even like Tomorrow, like which is probably my favorite one on the album, the last song, which is weird because he's like totally. You gotta end with an epic song kind of deal. Like it almost seems like something like We'll Let You Know should have been like the last song because it's just like this weird rock out, not like the third song. And like Tomorrow's like the single. It's like it's like the tomorrow, and like it totally shouldn't be the last song, but I don't know. But it works in a weird way too. So.
I mean,
God bless him.
It's a strong album, and I've gotten to listen to it many times over because it's not a long album. And I enjoyed it. I'm surprised I don't feel more 90s-ish about it.
So I guess we should wrap it up with these beers, man.
It's been a while,
we're trucking along, and no better way to top off these fine gems and media artifacts.
Some well-loved beers.
They're treating us well. And what are you drinking tonight? And this might be the first time where we didn't swap them yet.
Oh, yeah.
I meant to, but why not? Maybe we just enjoy our own.
Sometimes, I am drinking a NewCastle brown ale, which I have a lot of nostalgia for. When I went to school at Western Carolina University in Cullowhee, North Carolina, in the Silva, North Carolina area, it was very difficult not to just kind of be stuck with buying a PBR or Miller or Coors or whatever. And we just one gas station in town, and we just like went in and kind of, my roommate actually just begged him and bothered him, and he was like, just something, and NewCastle was what they got, and then at that point we felt obligated to support it, so we drank a lot.
We did this for you.
Yes, we drank a lot of it. So nice. Cullowhee, Silva students out there, you have us to thank for your diversity.
Knock down the walls.
That's right.
How's it hold up? Have you drank it in a while?
I have not had it in a while. It's a little overly sweet, and I just feel like I've had a number of them, and I'm definitely not sober, but I also don't really feel drunk. Nice. So it's a weird sort of like mid-ground of insobriety. I think they're at their best when they're super duper duper cold. Yeah, beer purgatory. Super duper cold. These are just sort of like normal cold. So good, but not great.
I have a mediocre refrigerator. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you suck.
I'll turn it up a bit.
And you are drinking?
I'm drinking Shiva by Asheville Brewing Company.
Local beer.
Sadly, I kind of wanted to pick Pisgah.
I wanted to piss.
I wanted to piss real bad, but Pisgah Pale is probably my favorite, like, go-to local beer. And but for sentimental value, this actually worked out better because I remember Shiva being like the first, like, every time before I even lived in Asheville here, and I'd come down to visit our friend Ryan and hang out and play music and stuff, and often we would go over to Asheville Brewing Company, which is also like a cool second-run movie theater and pizza place and stuff.
Everything. There's video games.
Fucking Star Wars murals on the wall.
Incredible.
It's a staple for sure in Asheville. And
ate there this evening. It was delicious.
Oh, yeah? Cool. Yeah. And we'd always just get a Shiva when we were like watching a movie, and like it was my first like what the fuck is this? I'm always a little drunker than I should be. And it's delicious. I can't really put my, it's like kind of salty. It was like the IPA side for sure. But at the same time, I was just like, I don't know, man. We'd get like pitchers of this shit and we just guzzle it like a bunch of crazy fiends.
And it was good for us.
Yeah, we'd figure out a way to drive home or not drive home or whatever. But saw so many weird movies and hung out all night drinking Shiva. It was always like the kickoff to a great time. So I thought like that would be a good one to share with the good people out there. So Shiva, IPA, Asheville Brewing Company.
All right, well, cheers.
Cheers, man.
Click. That was the sound of, yes.
Of a can on bottle. Mm-hmm. And, thanks, guys. So go track those beers down if you can. I love NewCastle, too. Reminds me of my brother, Owen.
Good old Owen.
Even though he ruined Goonies for me so many times.
Sure.
He drank
Bad old Owen.
He loves some NewCastle, too, occasionally. So, guys, seriously, you need to download this podcast from iTunes. Subscribe, You probably already downloaded it.
Yeah, we should get, if you're listening to it. Let's get some subscribers on there.
The beers are working.
They are. And the magic potion.
Instagram, that's a place where you can look at pictures and also find out about shit that we're going to talk about. And there's the Facebook
episodes.
page. So we'll put links to all this stuff on Facebook.
Yes.
And so that's out there. Title music by Ryan Cox, the dude we talked about. If you want, it's a great band.
Upcoming episodes is comedy greats, horror movie greats. We're gonna go into some specific genres, and I'm looking especially forward to the comedy one because it makes me a little bit panicky, and I'm not sure what's gonna happen.
As it should. Nothing makes you feel a little uncomfortable like a joke that hasn't happened yet.
Yes.
Well, guys, thanks so much for listening. Go check out all these things. They're our favorites. We stand by them. We endorse them.
And you'll love them,
and
too.
we won't say that often on this show.
That's right. We'll be more complaining.
So, take care, and see you next time.
Thanks.